Okay, welcome to the Lead Gen for Six Figure Sales Summit. I'm so excited because one of my favorite best biz besties is here, Johanne O'Halleron. And she is amazing. She has the most down-to-earth advice, and I can't wait to dive in with you. So, hi, Johanne. Can you please tell us a little bit about who you serve and what you're up to?
Sure can. Thank you. And well done. I always laugh when people go to pronounce my name. I've got called everything. Do you know that? Like, even with people that know me so well, I got called everything. But I'm Irish in case you didn't know my accent. So my name's Joanne, and I always say I'm a mum, I'm a grandmother, and I've been in business now for 6 years. Yesterday was actually my 6 year anniversary, which is so freaking cool. But my stand is for women to be able to create abundance of freedom through entrepreneurship. So I specifically help online business owners be able to have incredible sales, create the life that they want by flooding their inbox with leads, because I am a firm believer, and I learned the hard way in business, that if you do not have leads, and I mean actual leads, I'm not talking about followers, I'm not talking about the trends on social media, I'm talking about proper leads, you cannot have a business. And way too many people focus on sales instead of focusing on leads.
Okay, let's just start right there because I feel like this is the part of the conversation that when somebody first comes into the online space,
Yeah.
enough people talk about this. They talk about lead or they talk about visibility, and then like you said, they talk about sales. And I feel like there's a middleman in the middle that nobody actually addresses properly. And what
Yeah.
happens is so many women end up spending years floating around in circles chasing their tail, and they're trying to do all the things, but they are literally missing that thing in the middle that will join the visibility and the sales. So can you just tell me a little bit more about, like, if somebody doesn't really grasp what leads means, like what does it mean to you? What is a lead?
Yeah, and I think that that's a great question, because I don't think a lot of people understand actually what a lead actually is. Do you know, like, I have to say that word was a foreign concept to me at the start, because I was very much taught focus on social media, put all your effort and energy into social media. But when you're getting crickets, you're like, here, come here. Like, where am I meant to find clients from? True Irish saying there, here, come here. Where are you meant to find them from?
I've
But
never
like,
heard.
what a lead actually is somebody that has a genuine interest in what you're doing. They know that they have a problem. They're actively looking for a solution, and they're looking to see where that problem can be solved for them. And a lead is when, like, there's some sort of transaction that takes place. Following somebody on social media is not considered a transaction for the purposes of a lead. It wants to be either, they give you an email address, they give you their phone number, they maybe, come to an event that you're doing where a transaction has taken place. They then become a lead. But still, not all leads are the same. Like, there's three different types of leads: there's cold leads, there's warm leads, and there's hot leads. And a lot of people put their effort and energy into cold leads, which is why sales feels really, really hard. Let me give you an example. If you were running ads and you had people opting into a freebie that you have or a lead magnet that you have, they would be considered cold, because most of those people, if not all of them, will have zero idea who you are. There's no evidence around who you are. There's no, like, camaraderie from other people, or like a solidification from somebody else that, like, you should trust this person. Therefore they're considered cold. The same way if somebody comes across you on social media, they'd be considered cold. Somebody who's warm, who has like a bit of skin in the game, so like, they've maybe they've opted in for an event or for a freebie, but they have been in your world for a little bit, or you have been recommended by somebody else. Then there comes the hot leads. The hot leads are the, like, I want you, you're the person that's going to solve my problem, how am I going to work with you? But it can take a bit of a customer journey to bring people along those leads. And in all fairness, you want all of those types of leads in your world, because if you just have one, business is going to feel hard. So, for example, if you just have cold leads, that's a lot of slog and, like, hard work to be able to get them from cold to hot. It's a lot of effort. And that's what happens to a lot of business owners, because so much focus is put on social media, so much focus is put on ads. Versus if you get into the middle ground where you've got your warm leads, it's a lesser customer journey to be able to bring them on. There's less touch points that you need with them, and they're more likely to become customers, whether it's in the next few weeks, the next few months, or in the next few years. Versus those that are cold, who knows? Like, who knows when they're going to become a client?
I think something just dropped in for me. So, because I'm very intuitive, which is so random compared to my background. But what happens, I think, sometimes too, is that when you first start out or your first year or two in business, you'll get some really hot leads and they'll convert really easily. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, it kind of feels like then the crickets set in. And then it becomes this like huge mental game where you're constantly having to like lift yourself back up and like put yourself back on the track of trying to go find clients, because everyone focuses on content that converts. And when you do have somebody that converts right away, it's amazing. There's no better feeling. But if we only concentrate on that being the thing that has to happen for success to happen, then we miss out on the whole skill set of, like you said, bringing warm leads in and nurturing them, because a lot of our businesses are very relationship based, right? Like a lot of us are not going for huge volume, low ticket funnels and stuff like that. And if you have an offer where somebody really needs to know you and trust that you can actually help them get to wherever it is that they want to go, I feel like that skill set in the middle of the nurture of those warm leads is actually like something that the majority of the industry just glosses right over. And then everybody's sitting there stuck saying like, how did I do this much work for 3 years and I'm still not where I want to be?
100%. 100%. But I think like this is where like you hear like a lot of phrases in our industry, you know, where people talk about top of funnel and attraction marketing. And I'm like, great. But where do you actually find the people? Like
Yeah.
where are we finding them? Like where do they actually live? Like where are they hanging out? Like, you know, do I open door A? Do I open door B? Like where actually are they? And I do see that this is a massive gap. I know you and I talk about it, but it is a massive gap in the industry. People will talk about messaging. They'll talk about, you know, content that converts, content that sells, messaging that sells. Like
Irresistible offers, all the things that would just sound like they would sell themselves.
yeah, but where do you get the people from? It's like even people that teach funnels, where are you getting the people from? Where are they coming from? Because I hate to tell you guys, social media is not it. Social media is amazing, but you should not be using it for a lead gen. If you notice any of the social media gurus, like the really big guys that are out there, they are not actually using social media as their lead gen. They're not making their sales on social media. They're bringing you onto their email list. If people are not on your email list, they really don't have skin in the game. But even look at where they're bringing them from. They're not bringing them from social media. They're bringing them from ads. They're bringing them from collaborations. Like there's key things. There's always key things that people in business do, but you have to look at where they're actually bringing people in from. And then you have to look at it as well in your business. Where are you bringing your people from? Like, where are you finding them? Because that is always the piece that is missing, is like, where do the people actually live? Like what rock are they under?
I was talking to another coach the other day, and she was just saying like, I'm so confident with my sales ability. She's like, but all of my stuff was done in person. And then when I decided to go online, it was like, you know, because I think a lot of people pivoted after COVID because their businesses just dried up overnight because you couldn't be in proximity with people physically. And so she was like, I'm still struggling so bad to try to replicate that same ability, because she liked to host events in person. So she's getting back to doing that now, but she's like, I really want to know how I could replicate that in the online space. And the biggest piece, I was like instantly, because I was like basically trying to help her figure out her bottleneck. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's because you don't have the lead gen piece. Like you have visibility and you have lots of great content going out, but you don't have the actual lead gen piece in the middle. And I said, how do you do it in person? And so she was explaining her whole process. And I was like, yeah, we just have to replicate that online. And here's how you do it. And the words she used were, I just don't know how to find my people. Like literally, like bold word find. How do I actually go find them? And I was like, you collaborate, you host collaborative events first, and then you host your nurture and convert events. And that's exactly what you do. I mean, that's how you and I even met, in a program that taught us how to do that. And that was, I mean, how many years ago was that now? Like 6 years. 6 years ago. And but the craziest thing about it is that it's the skill set of being able to go out and find new leads, even if you pivot, even if you change your offer, even if you change your whole business overnight. The ability to go out and actually collaborate with other people to pull in targeted audience, who then you can bring and see who are the hand raisers for the next step with you in another free event or challenge or whatever. It's a crazy valuable skill set, but I feel like you said, so many people are just posting on social media, praying, and they're just not getting anywhere. And I think that there are a lot of people that do make really good money on social media, but like you said, I think behind the scenes you'll find a very different picture often, not always, often though, because social media is especially for, like, I work with all ambitious moms. And so social media, to be consistent on social to the point like where you could post 3 times a day or create 3 reels a day or whatever a lot of those women are doing that are succeeding in that, you know, in that way, it's like not realistic for a lot of us for our businesses. Like it's not sustainable for a lot of us. And for me, I'm still in the mud, right? Like I'm still in the thick of the kids who are 3 to 12. And so my day gets pulled off course all the time. And so if I don't have a specific lead gen route that doesn't rely on me showing up consistently daily on social, then I'm screwed.
Yeah. And I think like a question that people need to ask themselves too, like to know whether or not that you have a solid lead gen flow, is like, Can you say with full certainty that if you put out an offer, regardless of the price, that somebody's going to jump? And if the answer is, I don't know, that tells you have a lead problem. It's very rare. Like if you're confident in what you offer and like you've been doing it for a while and you know that you've supported clients, it's very rarely a sales problem. Now it could be, don't get me wrong, obviously you'd need to see it to be able to diagnose it, but it's very rarely the sales problem. Sometimes it's the messaging problem. But again, it comes back to if you do not have the people actually coming in, then it means that you're just repeating the same cycle, the same words to the same people. If they haven't bought from you already, they're probably not going to. So you have to keep filling it in. But I always say, like, if you don't have confidence and assurance that if you put out an offer that, at least one person's going to jump at it, you need to have a look at your lead system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the other piece that people maybe kind of over or like gloss over is the fact that when you have a proper lead gen system, you can actually be asking the questions that you need for your messaging, for your offers, for your events, for your, all of your stuff, because there is nothing that replaces talking to real people. You can go on Ask the Public, you can go on Google, whatever, like you can do all these things. You can use ChatGPT as much as you want, but at the end of the day, nothing actually replaces human interaction. And also what we're seeing so much is people are not falling for, but they're not being convinced the same way. And I'm the same way, the way I'm buying now. I don't believe just in sales page copy anymore. So you could have the best copy in the world and I'm still not going to buy it if I don't actually get some sort of I'm not talking about $17 offers or $44, you know what I mean? I'm talking about if I'm going to invest 10K, I need to know how I move differently in your space, how I feel differently, how you support me, how you're holding. This is something that I talk about all the time now. It's like, I don't need anybody to hold my hand. I need somebody to hold my heart through the ups and downs of this, because this is a crazy, wild journey, this entrepreneurship thing, right? And it is hard and it is a lonely sport sometimes. And you have to have the right person holding you through that stuff. And if you can create a lead gen experience for someone where they actually feel like you actually get them, and not just with fancy sales copy, also with like how you actually make them move differently or feel, or you have to evoke something, because everyone's starving for real true human connection and somebody to actually give a shit about them.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you used like a really good word there, is the experience. When somebody comes into our world, they have to experience what it's like to work with us. So, this is where the customer journey comes in, but it has to start with like where are your people, where you find them from, and then what journey are you bringing them on to become a client with you? Because the sale doesn't just happen when they hit like your sales page or when they hop on a call with you or they jump into your DMs. The sales has been happening from the moment they came into your world. And if you don't realize that and have, your processes in place to bring them on that journey, then they're not going to have that experience with you, which means that selling those higher ticket items can feel that bit more challenging, because it's like they've gone from, okay, information, buy, like there's a gap. There's a gap. The gap is between you and them, and that, how do they know you? How do you know them? How do you prove that you know them?
Yeah. And you're asking somebody to make a leap, a giant leap there. And I think depending on the industry that you're in, there's so much information out there that everyone kind of gets confused. They just don't even know what to do anymore. And so part of your lead gen process needs to be you kind of proving to somebody or showing somebody that you are the person, because, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think that lead gen is a huge gap. But I think that people like us who are just going to stand there and say, hey, behind the scenes, that's not always what it actually looks like on these big 7-figure entrepreneurs. And also that, getting back to like, I call it hand-to-hand combat. It's like, you have to go out and talk to real people. That's the way I grew up in my sales career. And that's the way that I have definitely kind of morphed into in my online business. It's like, I actually need, also for me, I need to talk to other people to prove to myself even over and over that I am the right person. And that strengthens my messaging and strengthens my copy and strengthens my content. And I'm definitely not a content guru, but I love to pull people to events because that's where they can actually get an experience with me, right? Get a taste of what it's like to work with me or to be in my world, or just to have a real conversation, because there's nothing worse than jumping into a program where the coach did a great job of selling the program, and then all of a sudden you get inside and they're a completely different person and you're like, oh, what happened? So I think the lead gen piece is so key to being able to show people who you really are and what you can do for them.
But also, I think those, to be fair, I do think those types of programs are becoming less and less and less now because people's tolerances and like what we choose to invest in is becoming very different. I do think the micro specific things is where people are putting more of their effort and energy because, you know, after you've been in business for a little while, you know where your gaps are. Like, you know, do you know what I mean? You know, if it's a lead gen gap, you know, if it's a sales gap, you know, if it's a messaging gap, you know, if it's a team gap, like it's more specific for what you need. But again, it comes back to like, well, what's the experience, which is why, like, even with you talking about, you know, needing to have conversations with real people, like I'm sure you've heard it too, where people are like, but where do I find these people? Nobody's responded to me. And again, it's still feedback, as in that's the wrong people that you have in your audience because they're not actually leads. They're people that want to look but not touch. They're people that want to window shop but not actually invest. So this is why continuously filling, like I said, there's 3 different types of leads. If you continuously fill it and add on more and more and more, then you start to see the flow. And when, like, you know, this, when it's in flow, it's just like such a relief. Do you know, it's like, yeah, you've gone from like whitewater rafting to now just having a nice slow paddle. Do you know what I mean? You're just picking up people along the way. It just feels so much nicer.
Okay, well, on that note, tell us a little bit about your freebie and exactly how you walk somebody through how to generate leads.
Yeah, so my freebie is 100 leads in 90 days, and it literally is walking you through where you find your leads from. So just like what Mara and myself are doing here now, collaborating with other people, it is the most yummiest way to be able to generate leads because you're building up a community of people around you that you adore. Like myself and Mara now have been friends for 6 years and we're across the world from each other. You know, you have no idea what other doors open up for you too, but you have a network of people that you can now rely on. You cross promote to each other's audiences and you bring in real leads because when I say to my audience, Mara's doing this event and I think you would really like it, they trust what I say, which means that they're going to want to come and see Mara's event. And there is no such thing as competition, you guys. Like, if you think that you're in competition with each other, then you're going to have a very tight, like, constraint way of doing business. Versus when you see, okay, if somebody's not for me, but they could be for you, how lovely is that? Like, that's one of the most generous things that you can do. So this freebie will show you how to be able to pull your leads out from other people's audiences and what's the best way to identify the type of collaboration that's right for you, because different ones work for different industries and different niches.
I love that. I came to your last one of your events.
You did.
And I was like, you had some awesome stuff because just different industries needed different types of events. And I kind of run all one because I typically attract a certain type of client. But on the collaboration versus competition note, Joanne and I teach a very similar lead gen strategy, and yet we have each other on each other's summits or you know, podcast events or whatever, like all the time, because the way she explains it is going to make more sense to certain people, and the way I explain it is going to make sense to other people. And so us getting together and not being afraid to share with each other's audiences, it's like, I think it's the most powerful thing that women don't realize, because we are taught that it's like the dog eat dog world and the shark pit. I mean, that's the corporate sales, you know, background that I came from. It was just like everybody was out for themselves, and it was such a breath of fresh air when I came to the online space. Not for the first 5 years, but after that, it was like, oh, this is amazing. You know, how did I not see that this was possible? And I think it's an amazing way to generate leads and to build a business, because you get to have conversations with other experts in your field. And how much fun is that?
Oh, for sure. I love it. Like, and especially the fact that you can make connections in so many different corners of the world that actually have your back is really lovely. Because again, I came from corporate too. I came from the pure boys club world, you know, where it was that dog eat dog, and, you know, like to come into the online space and to not have to be aggressive, and I could be feminine and I could actually be girly and I could make friends. Like, it was okay to make friends and to have giggles and, you know, to have the chats. Oh, what a breath of fresh air.
I know. Okay, so one last piece of advice to wrap up. What would you say to somebody that's just like, I just don't know where to find my people?
I would say do a collaboration event. The first, well, actually, let me take a step back. What I would say is I would look at the rest of the year. Okay, so we're in May now. So for the rest of the year, what are your lead gen activities? Do you have any actual lead gen activities in place? I'm not talking about lives on social media or posting, but I'm talking about like an actual lead gen activity where you're speaking on events. Maybe you're going to a networking event. You've put yourself forward to speak at a networking event. Like, what are your actual lead gen activities? And do you have something in every month? If your answer is no, start there. Make sure that you have something in every single solitary month, because you have to allow the momentum to build. It's okay if you've become stagnant. We've all been in that place, right? Where, we've put the foot on the brakes with something that we know we should be doing. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit. Now I feel the pain. I feel the sting of it, right? Don't make yourself wrong for it. It's okay that it happened. Just reset and have a look at what you have in place for the rest of the year. And if you don't have anything, just acknowledge it and start putting things on your books for the rest of the year so that you can build that momentum again.
So basically, make sure you're getting visible in places, but also having something that actually pulls the right fit people onto your email list. That's what you and I both believe, because that is the asset that you own, and you can direct traffic from there. And I think that is a skill that not very many people teach. Like you said, if you have these fancy funnels, or you have all these amazing things built, but you don't know how to drive any people to it, then you just have amazing things like books on a shelf sitting around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we actually ended up where we ended up, right? Trying to figure out how to build our lists. But now, look at us 6 years later. It's so fun. Okay. Thank you, Joanne. Everyone, I will drop the freebie for you. You can grab it. 100 leads in 90 days with the one and only Joanne, and go grab it if you want some help figuring out what type of event you could host, what kind of collaboration for your type of industry or niche. She's really good at pinpointing that stuff. And the reason that she's so good at it is because she's worked with so many clients in so many different areas. And so she can say, here's why this works for this one. Here's why this works. Here's why this one is better for this type of coach, or, you know what I mean? Yeah. She's amazing. And she'll actually walk you through like all the numbers too, not just the theory, right? Like, she's just very good at breaking it all down so you can see exactly what you need, and then you go for it. Thanks, Joanne.
All right.